Good morning. This is Mark Sobowitz, and this is a Clarion Voice live from the Hub Studios. Good morning. This is Mark Sobowitz here at the Hub Studios in Atascadero, and we hope that you're going to have a good Tuesday. And it is May 30th, and so hope you had a wonderful Memorial Day. And today we're going to talk about the subject of loneliness. And as you can tell, I'm here by myself talking about loneliness, so it's sort of appropriate. Um, but loneliness has, become an issue, mental health wise, because loneliness is actually one of the top causes of mental health problems that has come up recently. And I think partly because of the pandemic, which caused people to isolate themselves because they didn't want to get ill and things like that. And so I think that that's something that we need to address more stringently because people are suffering and you don't know it unless you reach out to them. And I think that if we do that, then perhaps we can prevent some other issues as far as mental health is concerned. And in the Bible, at the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus was on his knees praying, but he was alone. He didn't have the benefit of the disciples with him at the time. They were sleeping, unfortunately, but he was there before God, praying his heart out, knowing what was going to happen. So, in a sense, that's a form of loneliness because he felt isolated. He knew what was ahead of him, but he still felt like he was being abandoned in some respect because he asked to have the cup taken from him. But that was filled with the aspects of what was going to happen on the cross. So that's one element, and then also in the Old Testament, you have Elijah, who in First Kings was dealing with the Baal priest in a battle of wills, so to speak. And what happened was is that Elijah defeated the Baals, showing that his God, our God, was the ultimate and not the one that the Baals were perpetrating. And what happened was is that Elijah was threatened by Jezebel, and therefore he felt isolated because he started to run away, and he thought that he was the only one left to be able to, defeat the powerful enemies that existed, with Jezebel and King Ahab. But as it turns out, God said, "No, I have some priests that are tucked away, and they're going to carry on my will." So Elijah had this, this powerful feeling of loneliness. But here's the thing: God is always with you. You are never abandoned because it says in Hebrews, it says, I will never leave you nor forsake you. It says in Matthew 28:20, it says, I will be with you until the end of the age. But you have to believe that. You have to truly believe that because you are not lonely. You don't have that sense of loneliness because God is always with you. The one thing that you need to remember is that you need to reach out to people who you haven't heard from, or just call them and say hello and touch base with them, because loneliness is a very powerful problem, because your thoughts go into different directions. You're not getting guided by someone to help you with a problem. And I think that we need to reach out to people and touch base with them, especially if you haven't heard from them. And so I hope that people will do that, because because our dynamics as far as dealing with people have changed so dramatically because of the pandemic, and it leaves people without a sense of hope. And that's not true, because God is our hope, God is our refuge. But you have to communicate that to someone. You can't leave them adrift and wallowing in their own negative thoughts. I mean, think about this for a minute. As I've said in the past, I work at a local retail store, and inevitably, when I go into the lunchroom, you know what's happening? They're all looking at their phones. So it's like they're isolating themselves within the confines of the team room, and it's almost like a sense of loneliness in a way, because you want to isolate yourself from somebody, and you want to concentrate on whatever's on your phone, which is wrong. And in my opinion, you have to communicate with people. You have to talk with them. You have to find out about them, and so that they feel like they're a part of something. And I think one of the reasons why I like going to His United Bride, which is part of Out of the Mire Ministries, that meets here several times a week, especially on Monday night when we have worship, is there's a sense of togetherness where people don't feel lonely, and they get to know one another, and they feel like they're a part of something. And that's a powerful tool, because a person's faith can be, I don't know how you want to, it might be dissolving, so to speak, is the best word I can come up with at the moment, because they don't have a way to connect. Now, admittedly, there are two sides to this. The person that is lonely has to reach out to people too. It's just like, it's not like they're sitting there waiting for somebody to come to them. You have to reach out to them. Guess what? I'm part of that picture, because I've always reached out to people, and I don't feel lonely, because I reach out to people and I make an effort to call them or get involved in something, but I don't feel lonely. Even though people might think, well, what do you do, other than working and whatever? Well, I go home and I watch TV and whatever, but I still connect with people. And that's, if you're in a position where you feel lonely, I would strongly recommend that you reach out to people, to call somebody, or to have a meal with them, just so because wallowing in it is not going to do you any good. And I think that through prayer and through reading the word and other things like that, I think that your sense of loneliness will slowly disappear. And that's something that I think that we need to address more so, especially with all the things that are happening around us, which are because of mental health issues. I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know. Um, and so that's something that we need to think about. So this is what you need to remember. Reach out to somebody if you haven't heard from them. Let them feel a part of your life, or at least give a darn to listen to what they have to say so that they don't feel lonely or they don't make wrong choices. And that's something that hopefully will help. And whatever way you can to do that, just if you would like, please comment on the video this morning. Let us know how you're doing and how you're feeling, and if you're part of that loneliness issue. So I hope that you have a good day, that you reach out to somebody uh, and have a meal with them, or just take a walk, or whatever it happens to be. But just, get out there and connect so that the loneliness problem won't be one in the future. This is Mark Sobowitz. Good morning to you with a clarion voice.